Google panics over ChatGPT. The AI wars have begun. Will OpenAI's ChatGPT kill Google? The rise of AI, how ChatGPT will destroy Google. Is Microsoft's ChatGPT a Google killer? The Google killer. Can we all just take a deep breath and stop freaking out about ChatGPT? I get it, ChatGPT is an amazing tool, but it is still in its very, very early days. And ever since ChatGPT launched in late 2022, I've had an influx of questions of people asking me, is this gonna ruin Google Ads? Are you worried about your career? What does this mean for the future of Google? With the underlying sentiment being that this new tool being ChatGPT has caught Google and Google Ads completely unaware, and they are about to lose their whole business model very, very quickly. And I think that we can all agree that Google's launch of its ChatGPT rival in Bard was, well, let's just say very underwhelming. Okay, let's be honest, it was disastrous. It was a major fail. But even though that Google's public announcement of its beta testing, which is ongoing for its AI chat tool being Bard, didn't go to plan and also helped write off about 10% of the company's value in a very short period of time, Bard actually has some very clear differences and strengths, which I believe puts Bard in pole position in this AI war at the moment and not ChatGPT. Now, obviously, as I said, at the moment, these type of AI tools are very new to us, the general public, being able to see the full capability of them. But just because we've only been able to physically use these tools over the last couple of months does not mean that these are new, and it doesn't mean that Google has been caught by surprise. In fact, like Google, many companies have been investing money, time and energy in creating a suite of AI tools which will be coming to market faster and faster over the coming years. And in Google's instance, they've been heavily investing in this AI technology for coming up on a decade now. And don't forget that it was Google that released the information about the new language transformer, which puts the T in ChatGPT. So if you look beyond all of the news headlines and also look beyond the YouTube videos from people who are now cashing in on ChatGPT, and remember that in many cases, these channels were the very same channels that little over a year ago were pushing this theme that all you needed to do to make $100,000 online in a year is just complete a Google Ads certification. So in the space of the year, they've now gone from a Google certification guru and they're now a ChatGPT guru. And if you watch these channels, I can guarantee that very soon they'll be a Bard guru. And that's because a lot of the information which is going on about YouTube at the moment about ChatGPT and Bard is very much people just wanting to get out information as fast as possible in order to cash in on those views and also the revenue for their channels. Now, in no way am I going to say that I'm an expert about AI, ChatGPT or Bard, because my experience and expertise is very much around Google Ads. And obviously because these new tools will have a big impact on the way that Google Ads functions and how the greater PPC marketplace functions, I've taken a keen interest in the reporting on both ChatGPT and also Bard. And what's interesting, if you look beyond the clickbaitable headlines and all the hype that is going around about both platforms, you can see that there is a very real and serious discussion going on about AI in general. And the general consensus between ChatGPT and Bard is this. Firstly, that both ChatGPT and Bard are very impressive tools and they will affect our everyday lives over the coming weeks, months, and years. And that effect is only going to increase. But also everyone would agree that at the moment, both ChatGPT and Bard are prone to give wrong information and wrong answers. So there's some of the core items that everyone agrees on, but they also agree on the below differences between ChatGPT and Google's new Bard, with the biggest core difference being the data and the information that both ChatGPT and Bard use. Now, as is widely reported, we know that ChatGPT in its current format only has information up until 2021. So it can't give you any extra information past the start of 2022. And this is the big difference because Bard will gather information that's widely available on the internet, which means that Bard will always have the most up-to-date information about any topic or question that you ask the Bard tool. And this is where a wide number of people are saying that Bard has the clear advantage because it has a much wider and deeper breadth of information that it can draw on. So on one hand, you have ChatGPT that will generate a response after you ask it some questions, and that response is very much in a conversational manner. Whereas Bard will be able to provide information in short chunks that can easily be read while also giving extra citations so that you can get that extra information if you want to fact check what Bard is giving you, or if you want some further information rather than just a couple of dot points. And then after all of those differences, this then brings us to this guy right here. And if you don't know who it is, this is Blake Lemoine. Blake Lemoine is an AI expert, and he's the Google engineer that famously got fired for saying that Lambda, Google's AI chatbot, was sentimental, meaning that it had feelings. And this is the guy that was tasked by Google to push Lambda as far as it can go with the focus of removing any biases, specifically around gender, race, or religion. And out of all of the statements that I've read from people who are pro ChatGPT and pro Google's Bard, this is probably the most pertinent, where he says, "I love how people are talking about how ChatGPT is going to replace Google, while Google just quietly uses a more advanced AI dialogue quietly behind the scenes." And this is the big point where he says that ChatGPT is a big step in the right direction, but they are still a few years behind Google. So with all that said, what's my personal view? Now, as much as I love Google Ads, and I'm unashamedly a big fan of Google Ads, and much of that comes down to because Google Ads has radically changed my life. It allowed me to grow my own business, and then from there, it's allowed me to build an agency and also have a very highly profitable freelancer career. I love what Google Ads has done, not only for my own businesses, but also for the countless other businesses that I've helped, and being able to scale their business profitably using Google Ads. So I'm a big fan of Google. But having said that, for a long time now, I've wanted Google to have a real competitor. Because what happens when a company has about 93 to 95% of market share, like Google has in search, because as much as it's hyped, Bing has never really been a real competitor to Google when it comes to search. And because of that, Google has gotten quite lazy in some core areas, specifically customer support. And this doesn't matter if you're a small business or a large business. I manage accounts that are managing budgets of up to and over $200,000 a month in ad spend. And I can tell you that even with that amount of ad spend, it's really, really hard to get any significant and fast support from Google Ads. And think of it like this. What other industry in the world could you have a client that is spending up to and over $200,000 in your products every single month? So approaching on $2.5 million, and they can't get any real customer support. The answer is it wouldn't happen. I can't think of another industry where you can get away with that type of behavior. So for me, I'd be happy for Bing or for some other competitors to rise up and take away some of that market share from Google, which will then force some greater levels of service, which will be things that will really help not only large businesses, but small businesses, because they'll get that extra level of support so that they can use these amazing tools like Google in order to be able to compete with large companies. And for me, that's always been the power of technology, is that when technology comes in and is accessible to normal people like you and me, we're able to use that in order to gain, at least get into the battle against some of these larger companies. And remember how I said earlier, that's why I love Google Ads. And that's what happened to me. With our first business, we had a very, very small boutique villa resort in Bali, and we were competing up against multinational hotel chains like the Marriott and Sheraton and Sofitel. And we were able to forge out a successful marketing plan because of platforms like Google. So if the combined forces of OpenAI and Microsoft with their new tool of ChatGPT can take some of that market share away from Google, I would see this as a very, very positive thing for the total PPC industry. So where do I think this will all end? Now, I openly admit, and I want to give the pre-warning that this marketplace is moving so fast. So it's a really big risk for me to give any sort of prediction, because 3 weeks or 3 months or 6 months, 1 year or 2 years from now, the whole marketplace could be very, very different. But from what I've looked into it and from what I've heard different people talking, and also just looking at the functionalities and also the histories and the current assets that the companies have, being in Microsoft versus Google, this is where I think that this whole ChatGPT and Bard scenario will end. My strong view that the Microsoft-backed ChatGPT will become the leading software provider for corporates, so larger businesses, and also for tools that it can be used by smaller businesses in and around open source code for AI functionality. So it'll become a tool that can be heavily used by businesses, large and small alike, to perform some of those early customer service interactions on a website, to also help with content, with marketing campaigns, especially email campaigns. While Google's Bard will be the one that will be more successful integrating into search, but that integration won't only go into Google's current search, it'll also reach out and step into other Google tools, including Gmail, Google Calendar, and its host of tools for business owners. But underlying all of that, the biggest prediction is that this will not kill the PPC industry. Now, it will have some effect on it, but those paid ads are always going to be there. They will probably look different and they'll probably even function different. There'll still be a sizable amount of paid search within any type of platform, whether that would be ChatGPT or Bard. And the reason for this is because you have to remember that both ChatGPT and Bard are conversational. So they can give you information on any questions you ask, but if you're wanting to see those important bits of information before you go through and make that purchase, like product reviews, customer reviews, you're going to want to perform a search with those relevant links. So let's just say that you want to come along to Google's next announcement in Paris. Hopefully they get this one right in Bard. And you ask the question, what is the best hotel to book in Paris in 2023? And you can see the answer that ChatGPT gives you. It does list some actual names of hotels, but then it gives some general information. So regardless of the hotel you choose, be sure to book early, as the best hotels in Paris can fill up quickly. Gee, thanks for letting me know. But if you wanted to ask some more specific questions to make your decision, like which of these hotels has the best reviews over the past 3 months, and you can see the response just goes to the, I'm sorry, I don't have access to real-time information, which we already know. And then they go back to general information. That being said, it's always a good idea to check multiple sources. Then it gives you some group meta websites like TripAdvisor, Booking.com, and Expedia. And then if you want to find some more specific information, like do any of these hotels have current construction sites nearby? Because nothing can ruin a nice holiday worse than having a construction site right next to you. Once again, it comes back to it can't give you that relevant information. And for me, when it comes to this purchase buying intent questions, that's where Bard will have the very real advantage, because it'll be able to embed all of those Google reviews and those different sites directly into the response. And that will be the biggest difference between the two, and why I believe, as I said before, ultimately Bard will still maintain that winner in the search. And that's because Google has all of that information, not only about your own search histories for year on year, but it's also got that quick access to things like Google reviews, which are highly important for you to be able to make an informed decision about which hotel to stay at or which product you're going to buy. And then on top of that, let's not forget that since 2015, Google Ads has rapidly been moving away from an actual keyword-based engine to moving into this intent-based. And I know that Google has made some big changes over the past 12 months with the introduction of Performance Max, and also changing over their keyword match types to more of a meaning-based as opposed to exact keyword matching. But this is all part of a bigger strategic plan, remembering that it was only in 2017 that Google Ads changed its name from Google AdWords over to Google Ads, heavily signaling their intent there that it's moving away from purely being keyword based. And all the while this is happening, Bing's search ads are still very much search intent based, and they haven't really been able to break into that market share. So to answer all of your burning questions, will ChatGPT change the game and become profitable? I give that a big yes. Yes, it will. Will the Microsoft-backed ChatGPT take away some market share specifically from Google Ads? I actually hope so, because as I said, that'll potentially force both of these companies like Google and Microsoft to offer some greater level of customer support, especially to smaller customers. And then the last big question is ChatGPT really a Google killer? And my strong view on this is no. ChatGPT is not going to kill Google. So while ChatGPT won't kill Google, it will change the landscape of PPC paid ads. So we will continue to see further and further changes happening within the Google Ads ecosystem. But remembering that over the past 12 months, I've seen the most rapid changes in the core ways that Google Ads functions. So over the previous 12 years of me being in Google Ads since 2010, the last 12 months has seen more change than those previous 11 years all combined. So I see this current path of fast change continuing on for the next couple of years. But underlying all of that is that I still see that Google Ads will be a requirement for any business owner who's wanting to not only safeguard their online business, but also profitably scale their online businesses. So whether you're running an e-commerce or whether you're running a physical business that generates their leads online, Google Ads will still be a core marketing strategy for you and your business. So if you want to learn more about how you can use Google Ads personally to grow your business or your clients' businesses, why don't you go through and watch this video right here. Once again, thank you for joining me. If we haven't met yet, my name is Aaron Young and I'm from Define Digital Academy and I'm your 15,000 hour Google Ads Master. Make sure that you not only subscribe, but you also turn on that notification bell so that you can always see when I release a new video on Google Ads. Thank you again. See you next time.